Good morning, students. Today's topic I'll be discussing is chemical effects of electric current, and I'll be giving you some important questions which is expected in the final term of class 8. First question, that is, state the difference between conductors and insulators. So, conductors are any materials that allow the flow of electricity to pass through it. It allows the movement of charges. So any material, say mostly metals, say for example iron or aluminium. So this material allows the flow of charges. Charges are of two types, positive or negative charge. So that material is known as conductors. On the other hand, insulators are those substances or materials that prevent the flow of electricity through it. Say for example wood or plastic. So they or glass. So these are substances or materials that do not allow the flow of charges or electricity through it. So such a material is called insulators. Okay, next question is how electricity travels in a conductor, or what do you understand by delocalized electron in a conductor? So this question can be written in two ways which can come in the exam. So either delocalized electron क्या है और इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कंडक्टर के अंदर से कैसे पास करता है. So electricity or conductor carry electricity as well, so well because they have delocalized electrons. These electrons are not bonded to the atom but can move freely throughout the metal when electricity is supplied. So in this diagram you can see that this is the atom and electrons are not bounded very tightly towards the atom. So they are loosely packed. So when the electricity is flown, this electrons carry the charges and flow from one part of the metal to the other part. So there is a flow of electrons carrying the charges. Insulators, on the other hand, have electrons which are tightly packed and hence do not carry charges. So this is the reason insulators do not carry any electric charge, because the electrons are not delocalized, they are not free. So next question is question number 3. Why air is not a good conductor? Sorry, a small rectification. Why air is a good conductor or a poor conductor of electricity? So air is a substance or a material which conducts electricity and also conducts and also not conducts electricity. Now it's a conductor and an insulator, both. Why is it so? So air in normal situation, normal condition, is not a do not carry electricity. So it's a poor conductor. But in a situation where there is an accumulation of charges, so when there is some kind of addition of charges, then air act as a conductor for the flow of charges. For example, lightning. So in this diagram, we can see that the cloud have positive charge on the topmost layer and negative charge in the lowermost layer, and this earth have got positive charge. So when the charge is too much in the cloud, there's an accumulation of charges, then there's a flow of charge from the cloud to the earth. This is called lightning. So in this situation, air, which is normally a poor conductor of electricity, in this situation becomes a conductor. So question number 4, it states that state which liquid which is a conductor or insulator. So which liquid conducts electricity and which liquid is a poor conductor of electricity. First is distilled water, insulator; tap water, conductor; lemon juice, conductor; vinegar, insulator; cooking oil, conductor; milk, conductor; honey, insulator; soda compound, conductor; mercury, conductor; fuel, insulator. So next question number 5. How do liquids carry electricity? So unlike metals, electricity is flown through the liquid by breaking the atom into ions. So we have learned already that metals have got delocalized electrons, and that actually takes charges from one end of the wire to other end. But in metals, in liquids, this is not the process. In liquids, there are certain chemicals which actually break the atoms into their respective ions. So what are ions? Ions are charged atoms. Now, these are all atoms, but they are charged. So when an atom loses an electron, it becomes positive charge, and when it gains an electron, it becomes negative charge. So these are called ions, negative ion and positive ion. So some chemicals like sodium chloride, NaCl. What is NaCl? Common salt, जो नमक हम लोग खाते हैं. NaCl, when mixed with water, it gets ionized. So Na, that is sodium, become positive ion and gets attracted towards the cathode. What is cathode? It's the negative terminal. Chlorine, Cl, becomes negative ion and flows towards the positive terminal. So to the positive terminal, that is anode, where the chlorine gas is collected. So negative and positive ions help in the flow of electricity in liquid. So let us understand with the help of a diagram. So this is a cell or a cell, one charge, a flow of charge, and then this is the bigger stroke is the positive charge, and the smaller stroke is the negative charge. So conventionally, there's a current flows from positive to negative. This positive terminal is called anode and the negative terminal is called cathode. Now when this electrolyte, that is water mixed with NaCl or normal salt. So when it happens, when there's a current or when there's a flow of electricity, this NaCl breaks into Na positive, that is sodium positive ion, and chlorine negative ion. Now positive gets attracted to the negative terminal, and negative chlorine gets attracted to the positive terminal. Here the chlorine gas is evolved. So this is how there's a flow of electricity through the ions in liquid. Okay, briefly explain the term electrode, electrolyte, anode, cathode, cations and anions. So electrodes, the definition is it is a conductor of electricity. So electrode is a conductor of electricity which carry current in a non-metal. So non-metal means in a solution, in a liquid with non-metal, if where the electric current is put into the liquid, that current wire or that current rod is known as electrode. Anode and cathode, the positive electrode is or the terminal is called anode, and the negative charge electrode or terminal is called cathode. So that metal piece which is attached to the positive terminal, positive end of the battery or cell, is known as anode, and that metal piece which is attached to the negative terminal or cell terminal is known as cathode. What is anion and cation? The positive ion. I told you that ion is basically the charged atom, wherein if the atom loses electron, it becomes positive, and positive ion or positive charged ion. So that is called anion. Negative ion is called cation. So when the atom gains electron, it is called cation. What is electrolyte? So a solution that break atoms into ions when electricity is passed is called electrolyte. So in our example previously, I told you that NaCl when mixed with water, that is salt when mixed with water, and when electricity is passed, then the salt, that is NaCl, is broken into Na, that is sodium ion, and Cl, that is chloride ion. So this is called negative ion and chloride ion. So that solution is called electrolyte. So next question, state the effect of electric current when passed in a solution. So when electric current is passed through a liquid, atom gets broken into ions causing chemical reaction. So it was like we have already discussed that when electricity is passed through NaCl solution, sodium ion and chloride ion both gets evolved. So the effects caused it are metal deposits on the electrode. Na, that is positive metal, is deposited at the cathode. Now I told you that cathode is the negative terminal and Na is positive ion. So positive gets attracted to the negative terminal and metal gets deposited there. Sodium gets deposited at the negative terminal. Change in the color of the solution. What is solution? That's the electrolyte. Last, gas is evolved on the electrode, that is chloride. Cl negative ion, that is chloride ion, that is non-metal, is evolved in the anode. Anode is positive terminal, so negative ion gets attracted towards the positive terminal. So next question is, explain electroplating. So electroplating is a method of depositing one metal over another in the presence of metal salt in aqueous form. Aqueous form is liquid form. The word electroplating refers to electro, that is electric current, and plating. It is an act of outer covering of some material with a thin layer of another material. The process is to prevent corrosion. For example, iron is a metal. It is coated with chromium. So if iron is coated with chromium, then it is called electroplating. So the next question is, explain with example electroplating. To electroplate a brass item with copper, we make the anode positive terminal and brass item to be kept in the cathode. So what does this sentence mean? That positive terminal is to be made copper and the negative terminal is to be made brass. Means the item which need to be electroplated should be in the negative terminal, and one which helps to electroplate, that metal is to be kept in the positive terminal. The electrolyte, that is solution, should have any salt of copper. So what does this, that is example copper sulfate CuSO4. Now what does this sentence mean? This means that the electrolyte, the solution, should have that salt of the metal or which is supposed to be electroplating the other metal. Here copper is electroplating brass, so the metal salt, that is electrolyte, should have copper. So when electricity is passed through the solution, CuSO4 breaks into iron. So we have already discussed that when electricity is passed in the liquid solution, the liquid solution is broken into their component metal and non-metal ions, positive and negative ions. So copper and sulfate is broken as copper sulfate. Copper is positive, that is broken, and this positive ion gets attracted to the cathode, that is negative terminal. Obviously, positive gets attracted to the negative and negative gets attracted to the positive. So Cu ions, that is copper ion, that is copper positive ion, which gets attracted to the cathode, that is negative terminal, which have brass item attached. So we have already attached brass item on the negative terminal. So this copper gets deposited on the negative terminal. The copper electrode breaks down to fill up the loss of copper ion from the electrolyte. What does this sentence mean? We have already kept copper in the anode. Now this copper metal breaks down. Why? Because the electrolyte is getting deposited, the electrolyte's copper ion is getting deposited on the negative terminal. So the loss of copper is fulfilled by the breaking of copper from the anode. In this way, brass item is electroplated with copper. So in this diagram, the positive terminal, that is anode, is copper, and negative terminal, that is cathode, is brass. This is the item upon which copper is to be electroplated. Electrolyte is copper salt solution, that is CuSO4. Now when electricity is passed, this is a positive terminal, so this electricity is coming in the anode and it is going through the cathode. Now when electricity is passed, the CuSO4, the electrolyte, breaks into Cu positive and SO4 negative ion. So Cu positive ion, Cu positive ion gets added to the negative cathode and gets coated on the brass item. At the same time, copper anode, copper is the loss of CuSO4, Cu is getting deposited at the brass, so that loss is compensated by copper. This copper atom is getting dissolved in the solution. This is how the electroplating of brass is done with copper. So the next question is, state the various use of electroplating. First, medical equipments are made of nickel, which is harmful to body. Hence, electroplating with gold and platinum. Kitchen equipments are coated with chromium to give a shining effect and prevent corrosion. Third, jewelry is coated with gold and silver to make it affordable, not compromising its look. This means that jewelry which is made of, for example, base is iron or copper or brass coated with iron or silver, it is cheap, it is affordable, but not compromising on its outlook. So look wise, it is still a gold ornament, but it is quite cheap. Actually, you are purchasing a copper ornament coated with gold. So next question, explain how water, that is H2O, is broken into hydrogen and oxygen. So with the help of electrolysis, H2O is decomposed into H2 and O2. Let us explain with the help of a diagram. H2O is the electrolyte. When electricity is passed, H2O is broken into ions, H plus and O negative. Hydrogen is metal, it's having a positive ion. Oxygen is a non-metal, it's having negative ion. Positive ion is attracted towards the negative terminal. And negative ion is attracted to the positive terminal. So here H2 gas is collected and here O2 or oxygen gas is collected. So this brings end to our chapter. I wish you all the best. Thank you.